a company dropped typewriters from an airplane, and why there's no one key on many typewriters. These are just two out of many facts and stories I learned about typewriters since 2015 while building up our typewriter restoration business, Mr. and Mrs. Vintage Typewriters. Join me today as we delve into the lesser known facts and captivating stories behind these charming machines. Get ready to be surprised by the hidden world of typewriters. The arise of portable typewriters. Not until the mid-20s, portable typewriters gained their popularity. The first successful portable typewriters appeared in the market in 1909. These machines were designed with lighter parts than standard models, making them more compact but less sturdy. Long before laptops, portable typewriters were the go-to choice for writers, journalists, and poets who needed to work from different locations. Definitely not as portable as today's writing tools. Typewriters and art. Also known as ASCII art. This form of typewriter art began appearing in the late 19th century. Artists would use the typewriter's keys to create visual art, a practice that has continued into the digital age with computer ASCII art. The best-known artist is our friend James Cook, whose art is spreading globally. His art and talent is out of this world. Most recently, his drawing of the Arc de Triomphe in France went viral on social media, hitting more than 32 million views in less than 2 weeks. Carbon papers and multiple copies. Before photocopiers, typewriters were used to create multiple copies of documents. Carbon paper was inserted between sheets to transfer ink from the original to subsequent copies. Add this Walid fact: I hate carbon papers as they stain the typewriter frames, and it's nearly impossible to clean such stains. Where's the delete key? On a typewriter, the concept of a delete key as we know it on modern keyboards doesn't quite apply. However, there are ways to correct mistakes. There is no immediate way to erase a mistake. Typists would either use a pencil eraser designed for typewriter ink or apply correction fluid, commonly known as a whiteout, to cover the error and then retype the correct character once the fluid dried. I am strongly against using fluids and even the erasers as they leave a lot of residues inside the typewriter that will harm it in the long run. However, there is a backspace key, which allows you to move back one space to correct a letter. But that doesn't correct a big mistake. If you can't live with it, you will need to manually retype the entire page. What's the point of a QWERTY keyboard layout? Contrary to popular belief, it was not created to slow down typists. A QWERTY keyboard layout aimed to improve efficiency by placing frequently used letters apart to avoid collisions of type bars. So the QWERTY layout was originally designed to prevent jamming of the keys. Dvorak keyboard layout to replace the QWERTY. The Dvorak keyboard layout, patented in 1936 by August Dvorak and his brother-in-law William Dealey, tried to offer an alternative to the universal QWERTY layout. Its design aims to enhance typing speed, reduce errors, and alleviate repetitive strain injuries. Dvorak minimizes awkward finger movements by placing common letter combinations within easy reach. Letters are typed by alternating between hands, creating a rhythmic flow. This approach increases speed and reduces fatigue. And vowels and frequently used symbols reside on the left side of the keyboard. Despite its advantages, Dvorak has not replaced QWERTY as the standard layout due to historical factors and ongoing debates about its benefits. The shift key and capitalization. Early typewriters did not have a dedicated shift key. Previously, to type uppercase letters, a separate key was made for capital letters, numbers, and symbols, which made the keyboard extremely big. The introduction of the shift key by the Remington Company in its number 2 model in 1878 was revolutionary, allowing easy toggling between lowercase and uppercase letters, which significantly increased typing speed and efficiency. Typewriter music and compositions. Composer Leroy Anderson took typewriters to the concert hall. His playful and whimsical composition, aptly titled The Typewriter, features all the familiar sounds of a typewriter, dings, clacks, and clitter clattering. In performances, a soloist plays the typewriter while the orchestra accompanies. The effect is delightful, and it's a testament to the creative ways artists incorporate everyday objects into music. Not to forget the innovative band known as Boston Typewriter Orchestra. They create music using typewriters as their instruments. Music writers. Beyond the realm of performance, typewriters have also been used historically for composing music. In the 19th century, music typewriters were invented to help composers avoid the laborious process of scoring music by hand. These typewriters had keys for musical notes and symbols, allowing for easier copying and creation of compositions. The keytone music typewriter, for example, is a notable device from this era. Another example is the typewriter known as the music writer, invented by Cecil Effinger, a choral composer, music professor, and an inventor. The bell sound. Typewriters produced a distinctive ding or bell sound at the end of each line. Little did I know that, depending on the typewriter model, you only have around 4 to 7 characters remaining to type after the auditory cue that signals to the typist to return the carriage, as it's the end of the set margins. This takes us to number 11. Why there's a blank key on my typewriter keyboard? Got a lot of queries about what's the blank key on the keyboard. It's the margin release, that sometimes have an MR on it, in addition to several other markings. The margin release is made to bypass any set margin, whether it's at the beginning of your line or at the end. It allows you to type beyond it. The margin release key, hidden talents. It is often overlooked. The margin release on some typewriters is a secret savior for sticky situations. Found on models like Hermes typewriters and the Silver Reed models, the margin release key is your go-to solution when the key arms cross path and jam. A simple press can set them free. Yup, it's magic. You sold me a faulty typewriter. Where is the one key? In the early days of typewriters, you might have noticed that the number 1 key was clearly absent on most typewriters. But fear not, it wasn't a case of key theft or manufacturing oversight. The reason behind this curious omission lies in the clever design choices made by typewriter manufacturers. Here's the scoop. Instead of dedicating a separate key for the numeral 1, they decided to repurpose the lowercase l. When typed in its lowercase form, the letter L closely resembles the digit 1. This dual-purpose approach did not only save space but also reduce the manufacturing costs. So if you needed to type the number 1, you'd simply press the lowercase l key. And voila! In fact, during the 1930s, the capital letter I and the number 1 were still indistinguishable, further justifying this clever workaround. So, next time you encounter an old typewriter missing its number 1 key, remember that it's not a glitch, it's a design feature. Now what about the exclamation mark? It's a tale of innovation and economy. Early typewriters didn't include an exclamation mark either. But there's always a way. Type an apostrophe, then backspace, type a period, and you will get an exclamation mark. A tool of liberation for women. Did you know that typewriters were once considered a tool of liberation? They opened up new job opportunities for women in the 19th century, allowing them to step into the offices for the first time as typists and secretaries. Before the typewriter, the role of the office clerk was predominantly a man's occupation. But in the early 20th century, the typewriter had become a symbol of modernity and progress, and women typists were the forefront of this transformation. The typewriter thus holds a special place in the history as a catalyst for social change, altering the landscape of the professional world and paving the way for future generations of women in the workforce. Now for a little bit of typewriter Scrabble. The first row on a QWERTY keyboard typewriter contains all 8 letters that the word typewriter contains. Not until 2019 I knew this fact from a fellow enthusiast, and funny enough, I had to check. Later, I learned about the following facts. Peru is the only country name that can be typed using only one row of a keyboard. Words like stewardesses and desegregated can be typed using only the left hand. Lollipop and monopoly are examples of words that can be typed using the right hand only. Skepticism is the longest word typed on a typewriter in which you alternate hands every letter. The longest top row word is rupture wort, and it's a type of plant. Can you find more interesting facts between typewriters and words? Let us know in the comments below. Which typewriter company manufactured the first electric typewriter? I did not believe it, as it's strangely odd as this typewriter company had a special typewriter design. The first electric typewriter was produced by the Blickensderfer Manufacturing Company in 1902. However, the first electric typewriter to enjoy long-term commercial success was the IBM Electromatic typewriter introduced in 1935. I don't fancy electric typewriters, but was surprised that they have been that old. Mark Twain and typewriters. Mark Twain was the first author to submit a typewritten manuscript for his book Life on the Mississippi. Though it was not typed by Twain himself, but by his secretary Isabelle Lyon, and after 2 years he stopped using it. Blind writing or abstract typewriters. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, typewriters underwent significant developments. When using a typewriter, the text being typed remained invisible to the operator until a key was struck and you need to lift the carriage lever to check when needed. Imagine typing without seeing the letters appear on a paper, relying solely on muscle memory and precision. This design posed challenges but also opened up new possibilities. The Dougherty and the Pittsburgh Visible was the first front strike machine. It was not practical office typewriter because its long type bars made alignment difficult to maintain. Interestingly, the first commercially successful typewriter with a writing area facing the user and hidden type bars was the Underwood 1 typewriter in 1897. Siamese typewriters. Yes, they exist. Such machines were used when one set of characters was not enough. Some typists needed 2 different alphabets or needed to insert a wide variety of symbols in the text like math or scientific symbols. The solution was this Siamese twin arrangement with 2 typewriters with separate keyboards and a joint carriage to type on. And it's an extremely heavy typewriter. And about that airplane drop. The Royal Company dropped typewriters from an airplane. Yup, not kidding. It was a dramatic stunt by the Royal Typewriter Company. In an effort to prove the durability of their typewriters, George Edward Smith, the president of Royal Typewriter Company, bought an airplane in 1927 and dropped over 200 typewriters in crates with parachutes to dealers over the eastern seaboard of the US. As per online resources, the company eventually delivered over 11,000 typewriters this way, with only 10 being damaged. This was certainly a unique marketing strategy. Stay tuned as we have much more information to share with you, so don't forget to subscribe and check out this video about one of the typewriters in our personal collection.